Gratitude and generosity. I'm Ronnie Caldwell. This is Be Good Leadership. And today I want to talk about two things that are essential for anybody who's actually going to be a real leader or someone who's actually going to make a real difference in the world and the people around them, whether it's at their organization or in their relationships, what have you. Two attitudes, two mindsets that I think go together and are essential is gratitude and generosity. The person who comes as a leader who's ungrateful potentially is a dangerous person. Someone who we give so much power to, someone who we give authority to, someone who is responsible for the welfare of an organization, of a country, of a family, of anything, who is ungrateful for the life that they're living, for the people in their lives, is going to do damage in some way, shape, or form. And so I want to first talk about gratitude, because gratitude to me, there's the big picture, and then there's the picture in the day-to-day. And so let me talk a little bit about that. Is when I wake up in the morning, one of the things I was taught to do was to say thank you for waking up. For each day, remembering that I'm lucky that I woke up today. That is not necessarily the case for many people. There are many people in the course of every night who don't get the opportunity to wake up in the morning. And the life that I live, the fact that I'm healthy, the fact that I'm getting to talk to you right now is essentially grateful for each day. We must be grateful for each day. And then since I've been given another day, I want to make the best of it. Since I'm being given a gift that some other people have finished or don't have, then I need to make the best of that particular day. And let me go forward with compassion. Let me go forward with being my best self. Let me make the best use of this day, because it might not come back again. Because at the end of each night, I got to be thankful for the day that I lived. And I got to be thankful for everything that has come my way, knowing that I'm not promised another. So there's the big picture. And people might say, oh my God, that's thinking about death. That's pretty deep, pretty heavy, but it's real. It's essentially what we know. It's the realest thing that we're afraid of, but it's one of the things that helps us understand that we should be grateful for each day that we come here. And we're just a human being like everybody else. And it's all evened up at the end. All evened up, no matter how much money we're making, no matter what position we're in, no matter what country we're from, ethnicity, religion, what have you. Each of us experiences the human reality that we only have so much time, and we should be grateful for it. And when we're grateful, actually, we experience a whole lot of positive emotions. And what they find is that even in neuroscience, people who express gratitude, who feel gratitude, who cultivate gratitude, are more likely to experience an entire swath of other positive emotions and also to express those emotions to others. So building relationships. And then there's the other aspect of gratitude. It's the idea that I always have to remind myself, I love food. I love food. I love eating. In fact, before I was recording this video, I was just talking with someone who's helping me about how much I love eating. I love food. I don't make most of the food that I eat. I didn't grow that food. I didn't do that work. I love coffee. I don't grow the coffee. I don't process it. I don't take it to the store where I buy it from. I don't know how to make my clothes. I didn't make my house or my TV or any of the equipment that I'm using to film this video. I am grateful for all the people who are doing the work that allows me to live my life. I am grateful to my mother for basically sacrificing much of her time, much of her energy to raise me. To my father, to my aunts and uncles, to all those people who have made my life possible, I constantly each day have to say thank you. And I've said it before, as a leader, if I go into an empty room, I'm not leading anyone. I'm also grateful for the people who are in my organization. I'm grateful for the people who I'm going to be working with. Because without them, I don't survive. I don't live. We forget that no matter how independent we think we are, how much of an individual we believe we are. And we're all special in some way. I do believe that. We also need to be grateful because we are so dependent on so many other people who we've never met. And so also this gratitude of every individual who I come into contact with, I don't know in what way they've contributed, but they've contributed in some way to my life, and they will continue to do so. And I will need them if I'm going to live my best life and if I'm going to accomplish some of the things that I set out to accomplish. So it's this constant attitude of gratitude. Gratitude for the day that I've been given, for the life I'm going to lead, and grateful for the people in my life who I cannot move forward without, who literally I would not be alive without their assistance, the assistance of others. So grateful. And do you see how that also relates to humility, perspective? All these things that I talk about in other videos, they all kind of come into play here. Now, what do I do? So what? Someone might be saying, so what, Ronnie? You're grateful for your life that you've been given, and you're grateful for the people in your life who've made it possible. So now what? Well, what does that translate to? Generosity. Because I've been given so much, it makes sense for me to give back. Because of what I'm thankful for, because I'm thankful for this day, I'm thankful for this life, I'm thankful for the support I've gotten, let me give that support back. And so many people think of generosity in terms of material possessions. You can give people money, you give them food, all those kind of things. And those are essential things. People give people material objects all the time, and people do much through charity, and that's great. But on a day-to-day basis, in our relationships and everything else, we can be very generous with other things. Being generous with your time. Time to spend with people, time to sit and listen to their stories. We know that that's one of the most valuable resources because time is something we will never get back. We can always make more money. We can always come back. If you lose your money, if you lose your house, if you lose a pair of clothing or a watch or anything like that, we can get that back. We can work to get some of those things back, to get a new one. But time is gone. So it's a valuable thing that you give to other people when you give them your time. It's a valuable thing when you're generous with your listening because so many of us need that. So many of us feel unlistened to. But when we're generous with that, and we're generous with our listening, we also gain from it at the same time. So by giving our time and our listening to other people, we also get something back from that. And that's a great thing that we underestimate. Being generous with my learning. I've learned so much throughout my life. I continue to learn things. I continue to make mistakes and grow from them. And I try to be generous by always sharing what it is that I've learned, what it is that's helping me get better, what it is that's made my life better, that's made my relationships better. When I was working in a school, I made it my responsibility that twice a week via email, I'm just sharing with people what I'm learning. Not saying that they have to do it. I used to always put the advice is free. I used to sign it off. The advice is free and you don't have to take it. But I just wanted to be generous with what I was learning and what had made my life better. And so many of us, we think that when we learn something new, we want to hold information. We want to hold knowledge because that's power. But generosity is not worried about that. Generosity is about, man, I've learned something really interesting that actually, I think it would be helpful if everybody knew this. And so I want to share it. And so part of that generosity is the sharing of our learning. And as leaders in an organization, the more we start thinking, I'm going to keep this from people, or this information is only for me. I mean, if it would damage someone, or it's not ready. There's all kinds of reasons to keep certain information, but the vast majority of the information, and when I talk to leaders, and the vast majority of what they protect and don't share, it's not necessary. It's not nuclear secrets. But by letting more people in, by sharing your learning and information, we also create a group of people who are getting better together. We create a team that's actually more wise, that has more wisdom, that has a greater intelligence. Because as humans, we collectively learn from each other. We depend on each other. And with that generosity of me sharing my learning, people want to share their learning back. So once again, the benefit is reciprocal. And then there's also the generosity that's shown by sharing your kindness and your appreciation for people and your encouragement. Treating other people the way you would like to be treated. And by being generous enough to really think about that all the time in your relationships with people. Are you being generous with your kindness? Are you letting people know that you appreciate what they're doing? When people are doing great work, do you remind them about their strengths? Do you encourage them? Are you an encourager? That's an amazing kind of generosity. It's a kind of generosity that people oftentimes don't even realize they need until they're getting it, or don't want to admit that they need because they think that there's something bad about saying, oh, I need to be encouraged, or I wish someone told me they appreciated me. There's a whole part of it that's kind of like, I don't need anybody to appreciate me. I don't need anybody's approval. Believe me, we do. At base level, at the human level, it feels good to be appreciated. It feels good to be encouraged. We need that. Kindness is something that benefits us all and makes us better people for our mind and our hearts. So if you're going to lead people, we don't need a selfish leader. We need a grateful leader. And when a grateful leader is in the picture, they benefit other people and they actually spread gratitude. When the leadership has an attitude of gratitude, it tends to create sort of this contagion of gratitude. And when other people are grateful to each other, then we all become more generous. And this generosity also spreads. And this reciprocal idea of the more I go into my work, the more I go into my relationships with gratitude and generosity, the more I am nourished and the more I nourish other people. And together, we create environments where people want to be, where people want to work, where want to stay. And then when they leave it, they miss it. And then hopefully they take that and they remember that and they go ahead and spread that gratitude and that generosity to the next place they go. Man, it sounds maybe ideal, but I tell you, it's a way that you can go ahead and start showing up in the world and you can live your life. You can be intentional about it. Tell yourself, talk to yourself, write to yourself, and say to yourself, you are the kind of person who is grateful for every day they have and grateful for the people in your life. And you are the kind of person who is generous with your time, generous with your kindness, and generous with what you learn. Be grateful, be generous, make every single situation better, and be good. Please share this with who needs it, and thank you for listening again.